Hello, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to the first of our six-part social media webinar series, delivered with Caroline Wilson from Hot Toddi. My name is Joseph Midgley. I'm from the Growth Hub. You will have received emails from me, including registration links and all sorts of things over the years. So here's the face to put to that name. Welcome. I hope you enjoy today's, and I hope you come along to the next five, but we'll get to that. I will hand over to Caroline in a minute. I'll just do a little bit of housekeeping before we kick off. You'll be able to see we are recording this session. You will get the link to this recording after the session, as well as a link to the slides. So don't worry if you miss anything. And that will also go up on our website. So if you think this is absolutely fantastic and you want to share it out to any friends, please do. That link will go up on our website. As I say, I'll hand over to Caroline in a minute. I'm glad to see so many of you got your cameras on. That's really great, because I think it's always really good for the host to be able to see some lovely smiling faces. Please do feel free to leave those on. We're going to keep this as an interactive session. So if you've got any questions as we go, please do feel free to shout out. Just be conscious that you'll appear on the recording. If you're feeling a little bit shy, please do stick your questions in the chat, and I'm happy to read them out as we go along. As I say, we'll send some resources out by email afterwards, and I'll also keep putting some things in the chat, including the links to the next sessions and some other programs that will be relevant to today's content. I think that's all for me in terms of content. We've got 90 minutes for this session, but that is deliberately baggy, so we've got time to do some interactive things as well as we go along. So don't be shy, get in touch with your questions. These are workshops, not lectures, so pitch in. Yeah, I think that is enough further ado. So without any further ado, I will hand over to Caroline, and I hope you enjoy today's session.
Oh, amazing. Well, hello. I've seen some lovely friendly faces that are on camera. That's absolutely lovely to see you. Some I recognise, so some I don't. And hopefully this is what you signed up for. So setting social media objectives, that's what you have come in for. I'll see there's quite a lot of new people keep coming in, but that's absolutely brilliant. The main aim of this is essentially this next 90 minutes. This is your time. So yes, seeing some more friendly faces. This is just marvelous. Anyway, this is essentially your time. Ask questions. Joseph's going to be here as a little bit of a co-host, and he's going to just interrupt. So use the chat, ask questions, and those will be taken in real time. And is explained about obviously Zooming and it being recorded. So if you want to wait until the end when we're basically in the end credits, then absolutely not a problem at all. I'm super excited, and yeah, first one of 6. So yeah, you get me every month for the next 6 months if you will want to join. So hopefully this is what you signed up for. If not, now's your opportunity to skip off if you're like, oh no, that's not what I wanted. But this is a little bit of a hello from me. This is me. And I've essentially been running my business, Hot Toddi, for the last 10 years, which is absolutely unbelievable. Yes. Can you believe it? I actually do not know where the time's gone. I've absolutely loved it. But when I'm not here looking like this isn't my everyday get up. I'm with my children. We have chickens. I'm a bit of a keen deadlifter. Actually, Ruth in the audience set me a challenge last year and said to me, can you deadlift 100 kilos? And here I am. And her husband said, I look too happy to have deadlifted 100 kilos there. And then we gave £100 to charity. And Ruth did the same. So a little bit of a challenge. I'm also a keen gardener. So the bottom image is me with my mother-in-law at the flower show last year. So yeah, that's a little bit about me, because sometimes it's quite nice to add a little bit of ground that I'm not just this person that sits on social media that absolutely lives and breathes it. I do have a proper life. I do have hobbies and interests outside of my lovely social media business. And I also, wanted you to get to know me a little bit, because we're going to be doing, obviously, if you hopefully come to the other sessions, you'll meet me and I'll do a little bit of an intro as well. But anyway, yeah, so that's me. I spend most of my time now on Zoom or in person delivering workshops, webinars, and sort of power hours. But my sort of philosophy with my business is not to make you be more busy. It's to find the right balance. So all the time today, I want you to be thinking, right, my business, what does success look like to me, and how can I balance that through social media? What can I do to achieve that through social media? What's actually achievable for me? to not make you more busy. And even that might be, actually, I don't really enjoy this. I don't know what measuring my return on investment is here. Maybe I'm just not going to do that anymore. So I don't know if anybody used to use Twitter. I had great success on it, loved it, huge audience, really, really enjoyed spending time on it. Last couple of years, not been on it hardly ever. And I mean, I have been on to retweet Joseph's tweets, obviously from North York and North Yorkshire, and been very grateful for those. But yeah, so I've just sort of slid that out of my strategy. And that is absolutely okay to be like, actually, I don't know what I get from that. I'm not measuring that right now. And I don't know what I'm doing, to slide that out of your strategy. So yeah, I'm not about getting you on TikTok and dancing and skipping around and singing and doing all sorts of things. James Richardson's laughing at that, like, oh, I'm on TikTok already. No, I'm joking. So yeah, that's not my philosophy. It's to actually look, what does success look like to you? And that actually might be a 3-day week, or it might be that you want to retire in 10 years, or it might be that your business is, you want to sell it in 5 years, or it might be that actually you're at ground zero and you just want to start building. So really make that personal to you. Okie dokie. We got any more? I'm just going to see if I can see a few more faces because more people have joined. Brilliant. So let's keep maneuvering through. So my objectives today are hopefully to answer that question. Yeah, what does success look like to you on your business online? Setting some objectives, and we're going to go through those. So if you're like, objectives, I'm a small business owner, I'm not sure I have any objectives apart from to make money, then that is absolutely fine. We're going to have a little look at what those objectives can be on social media. And learn what statistics you can use to monitor them. It's absolutely great having sort of goals and objectives, but if you're not monitoring, how do you know if you're actually what's working and what's not working? And I sort of have a bit of a philosophy that I want to fail quick, if that makes sense, because it's expensive to fail slowly. So if you don't monitor, what's going to happen is your business could be going down and you're like, oh, I've not realized because I've not monitored in 6 months. So you can maybe sometimes not even be aware of what's happening if you're failing. It can be failing. You can be failing. You want to fail fast, essentially, because it's really expensive and costly to fail slowly. So that's what we want to do, looking at monitoring. But you won't be failing after this. You'll have lovely objectives and you'll be set on your way to success. Brilliant. I'm just thinking, what's the best way so I can see you all? Nope, I'm going to keep you down this way. Sorry, there's so many of you, and this is absolutely phenomenal. I'm really pleased you're here, but I just want to see as many of you as possible. Like I said, there is a chat, and if you have any questions as we go along, Joseph's monitoring that, so just fire away. Don't wait till the end. Brilliant. Because now I'd like you to find the chat, because I'd like you to score in that chat where you think you are on your, in terms of your social media. Be honest. If you don't have an account, that's absolutely fine. You know, like a 1, brilliant. I don't use any social media. I don't have anything, or it's already going live. If you're like a 5, maybe you're sort of somebody that's just, I have a few accounts, I'm kind of winging it. That's where I am right now. And 10 maybe is like, I'm absolutely exceptional. I'm, you know, live every single day. I love being on social media. You know, maybe potentially it's your career. James, again, you are making me laugh because you just sat there like, oh my God, what am I? Come on, James, you're more than a 5. I've got strong feelings for this. Right, I'm going to check. In this chat, oh, there's a lot of 5s. There's a lot of 5s. 8, Ethan, yes. 6, Ruth, I didn't see that coming. Oh, that's so nice. Zoe, getting GCSE results today. Exciting day in your house. Brilliant. Right, let's keep seeing. So yeah, just give yourself a little score. I'm getting a lot of 5s and 6s. Another 8 from Graham. Of course you are, Graham. Yes, you are an 8. And a 3 anymore. Everybody done and dusted. Brilliant. Amazing then. Oh, I've got a 3, a 5 gainer. Brilliant. So the idea of today is just to think, actually, all I'm wanting to do is, I'm not wanting to make you all a 10 in 90 minutes. That would be quite a strong effort. However, what we are wanting to do is for you to get that notepad, that pen ready, and to take notes on just moving that score up 1. Or even if you're thinking, actually, that's quite strong, maybe I want to commit to all of the webinars, and at the end, maybe then your score will go up 1 or 2. But just today, think, right, taking that score up from a 5 gainer to maybe a 6. Let's do this. Brilliant. So I know a little bit where you're all at. Amazing. Thank you very much. That's really, really helpful. So, next question. Who actually has marketing or social media objectives? Simple yes or no. Again, that chat, you all know where it is now. Give me a little bit of a rough idea. See what we're working with. What percentage of you actually have a few goals? No. Oh, it's pretty 50-50 split at the moment, I'll be honest. I love that. Defo, Graham, brilliant. You're in marketing though, so I would imagine that'd be a definite for you. Some Zoe, that's interesting. I love that. Alison, it doesn't matter if they're basic or not basic. That's absolutely brilliant. You've got something in mind. Brilliant. Last couple of seconds on this one. So yes or no. Haven't seen James. Have you? I'm just checking in. I haven't seen James's answer yet. Are you a yes or a no, James? Kind of. I love that it's somewhere in between. There's sort of an end destination, but I'm not kind of sure just yet. That's why you're here, James. I love it. Brilliant. I'd say it's a 50-50 split on that then. That's absolutely brilliant. Right, we are going to maneuver into some objectives. So, oops, somebody else has popped something in. Yeah, it's windy where I am too, Gemma. Hopefully it stabilizes. If it helps, I don't know if you've already got your camera off, turn your camera off, that might help. Gemma has just put in the chat. Oh, you already have. Brilliant. Yeah, quiet room, hide from the wind. I'm not sure what else. So what we're going to go through today is if you haven't got any objectives or you do have any objectives or you want to review your objectives, I've got a sort of 6 potentials in mind that you might think could be useful, could not be useful. Obviously, there's loads of others. And we're not, if you've sort of signed up for something that's hand-holding to look into the back end of Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, we're not going to look at the back end of that. We're going to sort of like keep it quite on the surface, because otherwise I can imagine we'll go down lots of different rabbit holes. Oh, the chat's up again. So the slides, just a reminder, the slides will come to you and there will be a recording. So if your internet is dodgy and you're like, actually, this is not a good use of my time right now, been live and missing bits, you can absolutely, Gemma, skip off and get the recording and watch it back later. And then you'll have my details anyway to get back in touch with me and have the slides and everything. So don't panic about that. Brilliant. So obviously there is, like I said, you might have other objectives in mind, but these, when I'm talking to business owners, these are sort of the 6 that pop up commonly. So boost brand awareness. Can't get my BBBs. I can't get my words out. This is a brilliant one. So if you're starting a new business, you're just at the beginning parts of it, you know, this is an absolutely brilliant one for you. Or you are launching something new, so you've got a new product, a new service, and you want to boost the awareness of that. That might be a really popular or an obvious choice for you to have this as an objective. I think increased leads, if we're honest, probably everybody in this room, you can just show your hands if you're like, 100%, that's why I'm here. I just want more leads. Okay, I love it. Yeah, everybody's like this. Yes, 2 hands up. Brilliant. What I want to remind you is it's social media, not selling media. So it's absolutely brilliant. We all want more leads. However, I listened to a podcast this morning that was absolutely fascinating, saying that actually to build trust, like, know, and trust, that actually you can do that online rather than networking in person. And it takes like apparently 7 hours of somebody potentially watching your content, listening, learning, and following you. I've just spotted a deer outside. Sorry, everybody. Like if you see my eyes gazing, I'm like, oh, look, deer. Anyway, should not have turned my camera to be here. Christine's like, oh, yes, I've got 10 deer here. Brilliant. Yeah, so yes, 7 hours. So we do want to obviously increase leads, but bearing in mind, there's 2 reasons why people use the internet, which is also really noteworthy to increase leads: to be educated or to be entertained. So really think when you're producing that content, actually to increase leads, I've got to bear in mind that that old thing of like 7 hours of getting to know someone, following, listening, looking, and learning, and also those 2 reasons. So there's a few things to bear in mind, but increased leads, absolutely brilliant, everybody. And also, Do you ask the question, how did you hear about me? Does anybody ask that question currently? Oh, Ethan. Brownie points for Ethan. He's nodding away like, yes, I do. Fantastic. So whether you ask that in person, on email, in a follow-up email, on a survey after they've left you, that is a brilliant question to ask, because how will you know if you're increasing leads if you're not asking that question? So really, really brilliant one. And it probably could be a combination of things, but actually you just touching base with your social media is a really nice reminder, because people aren't always, as I know, in the market for, spoke to somebody yesterday, a brand new kitchen, you know, a designer kitchen, or they might not always be in the market for, I know Ruth also does reflexology. They might not always be in the market for training, but what you do want to be is at the forefront of their mind of somebody that they engage with and that you've added value to your customers without selling them anything, so that you've added value. They think, oh, you're a great person, you connect, you don't just sell to me all the time. And that brilliant aspect of, I actually learned something from your content. So then they keep seeing your content. So when they are in, you know, like it might even be in the market to buy a piccalilli, they might think, yes, Ruth English, I've got you. I like your content. I enjoy, you look like a professional. You know what you're doing. You've got years of experience. That's the piccalilli I'm going to buy. So yes, we aren't always in the market, but what we do want to do is keep them there. So when they do want to purchase, you're the first person they think about. Brilliant. So increasing leads, we all want that one. My next one, this is my safe hardy. If you haven't got an objective and all of this looks rubbish, pick this one. This is number 3. So engagement. Why is this super, super important? Because on every single social media platform, these are essentially communities. So if we don't think of them like communities and conversations and opportunities to network, then you should, because I would say 50% of your social media use should be creating content, and then another 50% should be thinking, I'm going to engage, not in a spammy way where you flick down Facebook and emoji everybody. Richard's like, oh no, I can't do that. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to do actual genuine engagement. So if you were in person with somebody, how would you say, oh my goodness, you've just reached that milestone in your business, you've been in business 10 years, you have changed jobs, you have done whatever you have done, or a local business is doing an event, you know, send your support in a genuine, honest way that's like, actually, yeah, that looks beneficial. My target audience would really appreciate knowing about what's happening in my community, or there's some industry relevant news that's going to affect my business. I'm going to share and update my audience about that and how that might affect what I do. So engagement is really, really, really important, because also if you just go on social media and you just post, does anybody just do this at the moment? Nobody's going to admit it. Oh, Gaynor, you are strong. Okay, it's like Gaynor running in the room like, hey, I'm Gaynor, I do this. I don't know what you do, but tell me in the chat, Gaynor. I do this, and then it's like running back out again. And that social media platform's like, oh yeah, that was Gaynor, brilliant. Yeah, amazing. Well, she just shouted that at us all, and now she sells furniture. Brilliant. She's got another chair to sell. Amazing. And then they just ignore it. So why we want to really think about how we're using these networks is because if you sort of think when you've got something to post, actually, I'm going to go on and I'm going to work through my notifications, that really, really helps. And if you then get back to people, you mention other accounts, you build up your commenting, your liking, like I said, not spammy, but in a really genuine way, that then the social media network says, oh, brilliant. Gaynor's great. She's community focused. She's not just here to shout about what she does. She actually interacts, she engages, she has meaningful conversations. They really, really like that. Then when Gaynor does have a chair to sell, they go, oh, brilliant. It's good old Gaynor, and Gaynor's here daily interacting, and they share it organically to more people. So Gaynor's not going to just shout at us anymore. She's going to actually think. And it really just starts with, a marketeer told me years ago that she just does 2 minutes in the morning like brushing her teeth, 2 minutes on a night like brushing her teeth. And she just starts with her notifications. So if you're like, I'll have no idea how to do this, just start with your notifications. Somebody might have liked something, somebody might have commented, and make sure you're getting back to all those people. And we'll come into more detail a little bit about why that's really important and about response rates that people expect. But number 3 is your holy grail. If you're like, not sure I want any of these, number 3 is brilliant, because like I said, when you do have content to share, because you are engaged and community focused, the platform, whatever platform it is, will be like, yes, and they will organically show it to more people. So that's really, really important. More people means more exposure, more people building up those 7 hours to like, know, and trust you, leading to that, what everyone's here for, more sales. So, or more leads and more interest. So that's what we really, really like. Okay, traffic to your website, another great one. We've got to be reminded that our platforms that we're on, whether it's LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, wherever we are, we're just tenants on those platforms. And like we found a couple of years ago, does anybody remember the great black hole of when Facebook and Instagram just went dead for hours? Nobody remembers that. Yeah, Ethan's like, yes, that was frightening, wasn't it? We all just went, oh, my goodness, I built my whole business online and now it's gone. Yes, it was interesting. And everybody that had been not plugging their email list, not plugging their website, all just died a little bit inside and went, oh. So yeah, we're tenants on these platforms. So that's why your website you own, you manage, you can populate that content. You can do all those things. So yeah, and it's where they can find out more information about you. So if you want to drive traffic to your website, that could be a little bit of a start with your social media. If you've got more product-based business, or you want to share case studies or whatever, and they're more meaty and more detailed. There is a few tricks if you're thinking, oh, well, my website, because I know I personally shudder inside and think, no, I don't want to talk about that ever. It's not my favorite place to hang out talking about myself, but you can do little tricks to update your website by adding your news feed from your social media onto your website if you want to do that. I'm not a web expert, but they told me years ago that actually that was really useful, because then Google, when they troll it, they're like, oh, there's updated content on there. And so then that was quite useful. So if that's something that you haven't already done and you think, oh, actually, yeah, I post regularly on Instagram, maybe I should have my Instagram feed somewhere in my website, that might be useful. So then it's updated information. But I would always recommend thinking, based on this, being a tenant versus a homeowner with your website, thinking, actually, can the content I use on my social media, could it be created into a blog? Can I do that into a newsletter? What other ways can I use it so it's a bit more money return on your investment? And remembering, not everybody uses social media. That's also a bit of a news flash. Not everyone's here. Not everybody wants to use it. Also in a business capacity, so they might not always be in the market for whatever you do. When they're on social media, they might not want to buy Gainer's furniture. They might be thinking, actually, I'd much rather have that in a newsletter or a little bit of a blog or whatever. So yeah, traffic to your website. Brilliant. Anybody got any questions at this point? We're nearly there, don't panic. And then we're going to dive into each one of these in more detail. Just checking the time. Yeah, everybody all right? Perfect. Brilliant. Cool. Right. Customer service. So everybody remember COVID? Joseph and I just talked about the COVID times when we just all had to go on Zoom, which is reminding me of it now. And when we were like, how do we do this? What do we do? Everybody's business had to pivot online. So customer service on social media became probably pinnacle. So if you have a service or even a product-based business, think, actually, how can I extend my frequently asked questions and use social media as a tool to answer and alleviate sort of maybe it might help with less emails, less phone calls. If you can pop out there simple things like opening hours or updates on products, services, I don't know, think of your frequently asked questions. What do people ask you? How can you use your social media to actually help with that social media aspect of your business, customer service aspect of your business? And also a really quick cheat, if you don't already do this, is have a little bit of does everybody use the sort of robot in, there's probably a better technical term that Ethan will know, and he'll just pop in the chat for me, that is like this. I'm leaning in, I'm ready, my time to shine. So what's it called, Ethan, when you get an automatic email back? I just call it a bot. Is that all right? So if you haven't already got this set up, this is making him think. He's making him think. It's all right, everybody. Teacher's pet's having his moment, but he'll get there in the end. Right. So anyway, essentially, if you haven't already, set up your automatic response for any private messages, and you can do that once you do it for Facebook. You can only do it on Facebook and Instagram. Sorry, everybody, if you're on LinkedIn. Yeah, automatic response for inquiries. Yes, Ethan, we'll call it that. I just call it the little robot that responds for you. But I would say if you're on Instagram and Facebook and you haven't already set that up. But if you have it set up and it says another robot, sounds a lot better. Yes, it does, doesn't it? My little helper, my virtual VA. So if you haven't already got that set up, or you do, brilliant little thing to investigate and set up, because customer service, I think it's something like, I've got some more stats, but when I last read one, it was something like over 50% of social media users expect to reply back within an hour. So really think, actually, am I that responsive? And I'm not saying you need to get up in the middle of the night and check your messages, but it's just thinking, actually, am I that responsive? And could this little virtual VA robot help you out? And if you have it set up, does anybody have it set up to then give that person another form of communication to contact you, like email me or telephone me? Does anybody have that? So they have the little robot set up. And then they say, oh, by the way, yes, right, Richard. I would then, and Gemma, brilliant. I would then, if you're really not on social media every single day and you actually prefer email, I would, yeah, keep it like that. However, I'm not into duplicating communications and getting them to go other ways. Ruth, I'm not going to be going down how you actually set it up. It's super, super simple. YouTube. I'll just say YouTube. Everything we want is on YouTube. But yeah, we're not going to be doing that just today in today's session. But setting it up so easy. It's just in MetaSuite. But what I was getting at is, yeah, unless you're not on social media every single day, I would say keep them on the social media platform that you've contacted you with, and not then say email me or call me, because they like that platform, they've contacted you on that platform. Keep them on that platform, because ultimately you're going to get duplicated communications. And that's happened to me a few times where somebody's Instagrammed me, emailed me, then tried to call me. It's not efficient use of anyone's time. Just say, no, it's fine, I'll get back to you when you can, if it's in a timely fashion. Is that okay? So maybe Gemma and Richard maybe want to just think, actually, do I go on social media every single day? Yes. Do I need to direct them onto other different things? Brilliant. Last one, recruitment. So hands up or just yeses in the chat. Is anybody in hospitality or retail? Ruth's in retail, I know that, but I don't know anybody else. I think, Alison, it's kind of retail. I know that Alison is a doctor's clinic, aren't you, in Leyburn? So recruitment, essentially what I hear the other bugbear is, anybody in retail, hospitality, massively recruitment can be a bit of an issue, staff turnover, things like that, trying to find people. And what you can do, if this is an area of actually, yeah, we're struggling, we do struggle with staff, we find it hard to keep them. McDonald's did a brilliant example of this, and they let their let their employees take over their TikTok. So they have a whole employees TikTok account where they allow them to share and demonstrate the culture of what it's like to work at McDonald's. Now, that might not be the ethos that you want to run with or roll with, but it might be that actually, yes, we do need to showcase more of our staff. We do need to share that what extra staff benefits they get. So then when we do have recruitment, people already know that actually we're a great place to work. We have amazing benefits. There's a great culture here. People are really diverse and they have interesting hobbies, like so-and-so goes wild swimming and this person actually crochets and they're part of the bowls club, that people are interested and it's a great place to work. Because what we don't want, and I had this pretty it stands out as a memory of the last 10 years of somebody that came to me and was like, we really struggle with staff. They were in retail, and literally the 18 posts that they had on their Facebook, out of 18, 15 of them were job applications. And they were like, oh, always applying for jobs. And I said, it doesn't look good that you're not doing anything else apart from ad hoc saying you have a vacancy, because it looks like it's not a good place to work. It looks like you've got high staff turnover. It looks like that there's clearly an issue that you're not resolving, and it doesn't give the right image. However, if you're constantly thinking, actually, recruitment, we are a growing business, or we do tend to, because the nature of our work, hospitality and retail, does tend to have a high turnover of staff, what can we do to demonstrate actually when we do have a job opening that it looks like a great place and that we're really welcoming, friendly, there's lots of benefits. Does that make sense? Has anybody got any questions? I've whizzed through those. Happy? Everybody's happy? Good, good. I'll just have a little drink. Now we're going to look into these in a little bit more detail. So it's sort of quite clear, and I found this amazing stat, that actually if you do have an objective, apparently it's like 90% more likely to happen if you've got a destination in place. So hopefully we've whistle-top-toured about which ones we could do, and now we're going to see how we can get on that bus and go to Victoria. Because if you don't have a destination in place and you're just getting on a bus, unless you're a tourist and just joyriding and don't mind where it takes you, pretty useless waste of time. So that's why it's really important to have objectives, because we want to get to Victoria in a timely fashion and we don't want to zigzag. And yes, success looks really wiggly, and you'll know that probably from when you started your business, you thought it was going to do X, and actually now it morphs and you do more Y. But having a destination in place will help that hopefully process be a bit more clear cut and a bit more direction towards Victoria, not just, oh, I'm enjoying the ride and we don't quite know where we're going and you end up in Bristol. So hopefully that has helped. Nobody's got any questions? Does anybody review, us talking about failing fast, does anybody currently look at their stats? This I find really interesting. I worked with somebody that they had a caravan park in COVID, and they said to me, we're a bit dry. We're a bit dry on content. Oh, I love that. Ethan, of course, he reviews every 4 weeks. But my caravan client said, we're a bit dry. We've done 3 years, bearing in mind, 3 years of social media content every single day for 3 years. But we seem to have sort of come to a slow stop. And I said, oh, brilliant. So what's been working? Oh, I don't know. Why? What do you mean? Was the answer. I was nervous at this point. I was like, oh my, you've got 3 years worth of posts every single day. What's happening? And they were like, yeah, it was really, really good. We don't know what works. We've never looked. What do you mean the statistics? I was like, oh, good gracious me. So they were failing, but very slowly. So it took them 3 years to even look at their stats and statistics. So bearing in mind, if you're on a social media platform, every single platform, if you're on a business account or even on your LinkedIn profile, has stats and statistics that you can see what has and hasn't worked, what is working. And I love this. Nobody else reviews apart from Ethan. Is that correct? That's absolutely fine. Don't panic at all, because there's always a million other things to do. So yeah, absolutely fine. If you don't review, maybe that's one thing we'll all take away from today, looking at your stats and statistics, so then you can see. Now, as a business owner, I think I've come into the philosophy that, a month, I don't know about you, comes and goes so quick. So you go, oh, brilliant, it's Yorkshire Day, 1st of August. And then you go, oh, crumbs, it's the 22nd of August. You're nearly at the end of a month again. So then you're back to, right, no, next month I'll be better, I'll be stronger, I'll be brilliant, I'll be whatever. But what I've sort of come to the realization is that actually it is too quick, and it does go really quick. And the most efficient use of our time to be able to review, if you're just a business owner, a one-man band, or there's a couple of you, is actually thinking of it seasonally, because then it seems like less of a job. So actually, September to Christmas, brilliant chunk of time. Great if you've got a Christmas promotion coming up, good amount of time to sort of really delve into thinking more seasonally about your content. How is that going to change? The leaves are going to start falling off the trees. So we don't want anyone that's stood in, you know, like a harvested field or whatever. It's going to be ploughing, drilling, the seasons are going to change. So really, really think about that. And then it helps you allow for maybe doing a little mini photo shoot that actually is more seasonal, but then you've got that for the next 4 months. And then January, again, 4 months. What's happening? Spring, the end of winter. What else is going to be happening in that time? We'll be building towards Easter. So a brilliant, brilliant thing. Yeah, what's my promotion? What am I coming towards? Then we've got more the summer months and we're building towards summer, aren't we? From sort of like April. So then think seasonally, to me, works much better. And it might be that actually you find your own groove and think, yeah, in my business, this happens in this month, but then I have a sort of a 4-month block where this could happen, or a 3-month block, sorry, where this or that could happen. So really think, actually, if I step back and then I give myself some time to plan and review, then I can sort of do it in a bigger block, be more efficient with my time, get it sort of over and done with, so then it can allow for me to be reactive. Does that resonate with anybody that's like, actually, yes, you're 100% right. At the moment, I try to plan or do something monthly, it sort of happens and it escapes me. But I feel like that, for me, really makes sense because you're diving in, you're looking, you get thinking, right, what's happening in my diary? What's happening in my like work schedule? What happened this time last year? And the beauty of this is, once you've done it for a year, you can rinse and rinse and repeat essentially, because Mother's Day gonna move marginally, Easter gonna move marginally, but you've got a bit of a ground plan. Ooh, this sounds really helpful, but a bit overwhelming when you look when you're looking at it month by month. Okay, brilliant, Zoe. Yeah, a month sort of to me just feels like every time you're like, oh, I need to do it, and then it's like, oh, it's gone, and you put it off. However, if you think, right, I can do this, sit back, make a bit of a plan around these sort of things that actually happen to work, that are coming up. Like it's Christmas. Christmas is happening, isn't it? I think is it 18 weeks? Somebody said today. I was literally like traumatized by that. We're in August. But you know yourself, when you also plan monthly, the other thing that happens is you go, oh, that's happening at the end of the month, but we're already at the 22nd now. Crumbs, I've got a week to promote that. Oh, and then you're fighting fires. And then it does feel like a sense of lack and a sense of panicking, which we don't want. We want you to feel really relaxed and thinking, yeah, actually, I've got this. Christmas is coming, 18 weeks. You're welcome, everybody. And you can then think, yeah, now what am I going to put in place? How am I going to prepare for that? Can I build up to that? What's it going to look like? And then also when you're planning for the next sort of season, you can think, right, review what has worked well, what am I sort of seeing results from, and sort of replicate that content, because you're the only one that sees 100% of your content, which I think is also a massive bonus when you're like, oh, I can't repeat that content. Does anybody think that? Oh, I can't repeat that. I've already shared that. I've done that. It's been, it's done, it's gone. But a big realization is, guess what will come to town this Christmas? It comes every single year and it marks Christmas for most people, that Coca-Cola wagon. So when you're thinking, I can't repeat something, think Coca-Cola. So we're going to deep dive into that. Doesn't look great, does it? That picture, a bit pixelated. Sorry about that, everybody. So boost brand awareness. How can we do that? And what stat are we going to do? Anybody thinking that actually they're at the start of their business and this will be really great for you? This, I've just noticed, Catherine Howarth, would be very useful for you, my dear. So yeah, boosting your brand awareness. This will be really, really good. Oh, and there's another yes. Brilliant. So how can we track and look, and what stats and statistics can we look at? So how many people have seen a post when you went live, or just reach? So we're looking at post reach on posts. And again, have a little look. If these are something that you're like, oh, I don't know how to do this, write a little note in your diary, copy, paste, or ask me a question, and have a little look on Google, because they'll all be explained. But I don't want to teach you to suck eggs if you're like Ethan and, oh, he's gone. Oh, his nose there. If you're like Ethan and like, I'm totally know where I'm going with this. But yeah, I don't want to go over something. So post reach. If you're looking at brand awareness, reach is the people that have seen your post in a newsfeed. So really, really useful. How many people have seen something, whether it's live or whether it's just a post? How many people have seen it? Can you track it? Audience growth rate, that might be something. I think sometimes audience growing numbers in terms of likes and contacts can be a bit of like vanity. Does it really mean anything? And accounts usually that have the best engagement rate have got between 1,000 and 5,000 followers or connections. So really think, actually, what will a bigger number of audience actually mean to me? Actually, if I'm after engagement, I would much rather have 100 people that want to buy from me and purchase from me than 10,000 people that never connect with me or never look at any of my content and they never even see it because they're not interested. So I think sometimes really think, is that a good metric for me? Yeah, tips for getting new followers. Ethan's put that in the chat. Sorry, I'm sliding on. I think it's making that really shareable content, because people that follow you know like-minded people. So it's really appealing and creating that content that really resonates and engages with people, to then make them think, oh, brilliant, yes, I need to follow. I don't know what your business is, Ethan, but do shout. I need to follow more of Ethan. I need to share what Ethan's saying because it's really valuable. So once they share it to their audience, it's in front of more like-minded people that then hopefully will come across. Oh, first aid training, interesting. So yeah, and I would also look into user-generated content. So if you can get your audience, so your customers, to also create content, because then it'll go out on their platforms. And then, like, again, like-minded people know like-minded people. It's sort of like an online referral recommendation. Really, really brilliant, because then that's taking the hard work out of somebody saying, oh, first aid, I don't really want to research that. Jeremy down the road used Ethan's first aid company. Brilliant. He's recommended it. I'm going to skip on and chat to Ethan because that's absolutely amazing. So yeah. And yeah, really. And also question, why do you want the new followers? What they actually going to do? Right. And I've talked here about, yeah, user-generated content. Absolutely essential. So this is when, if I'd gone on Christine's training course and I took pictures and shared on LinkedIn, I've just been on Christine's training course. It's like actually reaffirming an online confirmation that it's really valuable. It's really good. I've got a lot out of it. Goes out to my audience. And if I paid to go on her course, I'll probably know more people that will be interested in that. So yeah, really, really useful user-generated content. And if you don't have that in a part of your customer journey currently, think, how can I encourage people? And if you have a product-based business, thinking, and I tell you who does this exceptionally well, Fairfax and Favour. I know Ruth's a fan. But both Ruths probably a fan. So Fairfax and Favour have this customer of the month, sorry. So they get their audience, their customers, wearing Fairfax, which are shoes, belts, bags, I don't know what else they do, wearing them wherever they are. And then they get their followers to then comment or like their favorite one. So it's not sometimes getting them to do something that's out of the ordinary, but it's encouraging your customers to send you content about what you offer or with your products or your service, because then Fairfax and Favour, I think they win £1,000 voucher. It's really a lot. So how can you incentivize them to create content for you? Because ultimately then you'll go to your social media and you'll go, oh, amazing. Look at this, all these people talking about me, your notifications will be full, and you'll basically get to get back to people. There's conversations, there's live, there's things that you can share onto your stories, or you can screenshot and share onto your actual newsfeed. So there's absolutely loads of opportunities, and it really creates that buzz around your business and creating more brand awareness and getting, like I said, your customers to talk about you, which is essentially golden. So does anybody do that currently? Have any little system in place? Apart from Ethan, I'm imagining Ethan's quite good at this, or is he not? He's like, oh no. This is something you're gonna, yeah, no, okay. This is something Ethan's gonna learn to do. And what I do, so when I was, so say like 2021, I never asked for reviews. So I naturally on LinkedIn, like just organically got 3. And I was like, oh, that's great, but I'm not actually knowing, because you learn your most from feedback, don't you? So I was like, I don't know that I'm really getting anything from this. Then in 2022, because I knew I had a new website to prepare for, I was like, I need to really make it part of my system that when I invoice or finish a webinar or finish a one-to-one or whatever, that there's a really slick process that I get in touch with people and say to them, can you say what your biggest takeaway from our training was? So I asked them a question, so it made it easy for them to answer. And then what happened when I started doing this in 2022 on LinkedIn, bearing in mind, not everyone I work with, again, is on LinkedIn, but that's where I wanted my reviews. You might want them on TripAdvisor, you might want them on Google, you might want them, I don't know where else you might want them, but you might want them wherever you want them. So, and I wanted them on LinkedIn. And then in 2022, 3 to 43 I got in 2022 because I started asking the question. I started making it part of my customer journey, which isn't very British to ask for something, but I said, what's your biggest takeaway? So yeah, really think. And something especially like what Christine does, like training like me, it might be that you want to do a survey monkey, or you want which is a survey monkey is when you can send them out some multiple choice questions. But it might be that you're like, that's what I want to do. And when I invoice, they answer these questions, or actually when I send the email invoice that my accounts team then ask, then the accounts team ask a multiple of questions so I can get some stats and statistics to then share on social media. But the other thing that I asked was, I just asked them a question, because sometimes what you do is so great that you're like, actually, I don't even know how to explain what you did. That's brilliant. Thank you. You've refurbished the whole of my house. That's absolutely amazing. But, like, how do I feel about it? I don't know. So just getting a review can be a bit stale. But if you direct them with a question, that might be really, really useful. So a little bit of something to think about. User-generated content, absolutely amazing. So Christine's asked a really, really, really interesting question, and I get this a lot. People like stuff, but they don't engage with it. So think, what could they ask? So when you look at a piece of content, think, what could they ask? What could they say? Because sometimes we give too much value. So what I mean by that is we share song and verse about date, time, price, or it's just a sweeping statement and actually there's nothing to engage with. There's no reason to engage. So maybe ask a question, or how can you get them to engage, or what value are you adding, or is it funny? Do they need to share it because it's funny? So really think, there's two reasons: to be entertained or educated. How can I be educated that they want to share that with their target audience? What tip or trick can I give them that's a tiny little bit of insight into who I am and what I do, without giving them song, verse? Because when there's so much content, there's usually no reason to engage, and they're like, oh, that's brilliant, but yes, I like it because I'm being polite, I don't know what to say, then they move on. So yeah, really, really question that. Brilliant. I'm just aware of time. Oh, yes. And also Ruth brought up a really good point. Don't include the website link, because what happens when you're on Facebook, Instagram, wherever, and then you put an external link in your post, they say, oh, red alert, how dare they send this person, be on Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever you are, and then add a link to send them off the site. Because remember, these are little communities, they're groups, they want you to stay on the platform. So as soon as you put an external link, which absolutely makes sense when you're selling gainers chairs and you're like, here's the chair, buy it here, makes perfect sense. However, that platform will organically show it to less people because they're like, gainer, how dare you use an external link? And now, I mean, even if you're on LinkedIn or even Instagram, it says, are you sure? It leaves you on a landing page, doesn't it? Saying, are you sure you want to leave Instagram or LinkedIn? So yeah, pop your links maybe potentially into the comments. So then it tricks the website that it's still there. If people want details, you can tag people in that post if they want the link. But yeah, that can really reduce who you organically get shown to. Right, brilliant. I'm going to filter through. Increase leads, what we've all come for. How can we track this? So message, comments, engagement, how are you following up with those? Are you getting them? Is there a strong call to action on posts? Now, when we're thinking of leads, when I've mentioned earlier about this 7 hours to like, know, and trust and build up that relationship with people, even if it's online or in person, it's these 7 golden hours, which I heard on high performance podcast today. And I thought that's really, really interesting because we buy from people, don't we? So when you're wanting to increase leads, actually the ratio with how much sales posts that you do is 80-20. So 80% brand building, trust sort of gaining knowledgeable, interesting information versus sort of 20%. Oh, we've got this special offer on. Oh, there's this new product launching. Oh, do you want to join the waiting list to hear about this first? It's 20% of that actual lead generating content rather than 80-20, which probably most people are. I think people fall into that default. It's, I want a sale, I want more leads, so I've got to put more content out there that's salesy. But actually, it's the other way around. We want to really build on why people should buy from you. Testimonials, experience, tips, tricks, advice, sort of relationship building stuff. And then that 20% of, like I said, join my waiting list. Have you seen that we're launching this soon? New products coming. We have maybe got limited spaces available for this that's happening, or this product's sold out, but join our waiting list. I think there's quite a lot to be said from saying something is already popular. So if it has sold out, bringing awareness of that, like, oh, this is sold out, because it's instilling that trust, again, that, oh my gosh, that's a giant success. That event sold out, that product sold out. Oh, yes, I do need to be on a waiting list to be able to hear about that, because then people like things that are already successful, things that are already popular, that are tried and tested. So I'd really have a little look into, thinking of your ratio of content. What are we doing currently? Are you sort of panic posting? Oh goodness, I haven't posted anything. It's Friday. Quickly slam something out, and it's something for Sunday or Monday. So really actually tune in. Why am I posting? Can I add value? Can this share a little bit more about me and my product, rather than panic posting and trying to sell something? And if you think, oh yeah, I am panic posting, turn it around, because actually I always say my default, if you want to panic post, is actually quote what somebody's already said about you. If you do want to make it salesy, actually make it a case study of how you've helped somebody, and then this is what they said about you. So a bit of a case study of how you've helped, really, really useful. And then obviously click-through rate. If you have a call to action buttons, I think they're purely, they're on Instagram and Facebook, that you might have a bit of a, you can say, do you want to message me? What's your call to action? And remember that, keeping them on the platform. You can tie things to, because Meta own WhatsApp, you can tie things to WhatsApp and turn your WhatsApp into a business WhatsApp. Don't know how anybody feels about that. Businesses that are a bit more personal, maybe like a photographer, that might be relevant for. But I think if you're quite, selling furniture, is that relevant? Who are your target audience? Is that going to be easier for them? Do you want them to click through? Do you actually like using WhatsApp? Lots of other questions. I would think, right, actually, is message perfectly fine? Direct message, or how are you going to monitor the click-through rates? Brilliant. I am going to keep filtering through because I realize we're having such fun. Little bit, I'll let you read this in your own time, but we're going to look at engagement as our next one. Like I said, my holy grail. I think that if you go in mind with, I want to engage, I want to meet more people, I don't have time to network, you've got this tool in your hands every single day that actually, we all go to the toilet. Maybe that's when you're like, we all boil a kettle potentially. We all maybe walk a dog or do activities that you could multitask and think, that's when I'm hitting up my notifications. I check the weather, I go on my banking app, then I do my notifications on whatever platform. That was a real life example of one person that said, every morning, this is what she did, dum, dum, dum. And I was like, brilliant. So making it part of your routine. I don't know if anybody drives a car, but it's sort of learning how you sort of think you're never going to get those gears, don't you? And then suddenly all this clicks one day. You don't have to think about it. And it's sort of getting that practice and that routine of making it something that you just do. So engagement. There are reasons why people, don't like it. But I said, that's like your 20%, isn't it? And hopefully that's not what you're going to do moving forward. Brilliant. So engagement rate. We're going to do a little activity for 5 minutes and have a little look over depending on how much you post on your favorite platform. I want you to go on your favorite platform, and I want to pick whether it's in the last month if you post a lot, or the last 3 months if you don't post that much, a post that has got like maybe we don't have time for 3 pieces of content, but maybe just one post that's got the most amount of engagement. So likes, comments, potentially shares, or has been seen by the most amount of people if it's not, because especially on LinkedIn, I don't know if anybody's found this, you can find that you've got a piece of content out and you think it's absolutely brilliant. Loads of people have seen it. No one's commented on it. And then somebody tells you in person, saw that bit of content. You know, I like watching. I find there's a lot of stalkers on LinkedIn, is what I'm getting at. So it might be that there's just Christine laughing like, yes, I hear you. So yeah, what I want you to do, just quickly get your telephone out, your preferred platform, and just find your most engaged post. And the idea with this little activity is, brilliant, no problem. You're welcome, Zoe. I hope everything went well with the GCSEs. I think what we're after is, once we know what success looks like in terms of engagement, that's how we can grow. But if we have no baseline or nothing to compare it to, you're sort of thinking, oh yeah, this is great. And then you're sort of plucking from the sky stats and statistics that you want to achieve, but actually you're not looking at the data, and the data's all here of what success looks like currently. Then you can pick a reasonable stat that's more achievable for you to help grow from. So let's just have a little look. I'm going to have a drink of water and just look. And the idea is as well of thinking of a time, a date, a format, is that then you can replicate that date, that time, similar format or the same format. By format, I mean, is it a carousel of lots of pictures? Is it a video? Is it a live? Is it words? Is it one image? Like, if you know the format that really resonates with your audience, then you can replicate it or mix it up. So yeah, have a little look, because we want to see, what does success in terms of engagement look like for you? Really interesting, really, really interesting. I'm going to give you a couple more minutes. And what I've realized is timer. Can't see the timer. Joseph's gone off. He's gone on. What time
I'm
are we
here.
doing for time?
It's nearly 11, so we've got just
Oh,
over half an
perfect.
hour
Yeah,
left.
no,
Yeah,
we've
we've got a bit of time.
ages. Yeah.
While they do that, while you're talking, a relevant thing on our newsletters in the last year, we've kind of gone like very people centric, and we've started putting pictures of either the manager of the growth hub or the relationship managers attached to that message. And we're hearing, people go to events and they go, I know you, I've been seeing your face in my inbox every week. So it plants the seed slowly. It's not that it kind of rockets off because you put a picture in, but all of a sudden you kind of plant that seed and it becomes that face. It's like, we know it's working. We can see our newsletters get more traction. Look how many people have signed up. It's working out for us. But that kind of like people-centric approach seems to be really cutting through. And I think that kind of resonates with what you're saying there.
Massively. So people on social media get 3 times more engagement than pictures without people. And for a lot of people, unless you're an actress, I've worked with an actress, unless you're an actress, is horrific. It's probably, Damien's like, I want to die rather than put my picture out there. But the idea is that actually, if you just think, I'm just a business owner, no one cares if I've had my hair done, I've got lipstick on, or anything like that. No one actually cares. I've just got a message to deliver, and I'm just the delivery person, just the delivery boy, as they say. Don't shoot the messenger. That is what you're doing with putting yourself out there, getting pictures. You don't have to have them professionally done. We've all got cameras. It's absolutely fine. Do your own. But build it up if you're thinking, oh, I don't want to do pictures. Do videos, do landscapes, do hands, do demos, do voiceovers, do voice notes, and build it up to get your confidence. Because once you start seeing traction, you'll be like, I need to do more of this because this is what's working. And then you might get to the point, in 2025, you'll be ringing me up and being like, I did my first live, if it takes that long. But it's all just starts with that little bit of consistency. And that's when I like to compare it back to that 100-kilo deadlift. Ruth and I just didn't walk into that gym and go, brilliant, I've done my 100-kilo deadlift, there's 100 quid. Oh God, no, I wish it was that easy. It was 6 months of lifting twice a week, 6 months before we started at maybe 45 kilos and we worked our way up. So, and that is exactly the same with social media. You're just starting where you are today, thinking of your score in your mind, moving it up one, and thinking, all I have to do is just everything on the other side of consistency. And if you're going to run a marathon, learn a language, play an instrument, everything like that, riding a bike, driving a car, whatever you're doing, even, you know, got slightly into gardening. I am middle-aged, I feel, but everything just has its time to grow and you start maneuvering it. And you know, everything you've got a starting point, and don't compare yourself. Comparison is completely the thief of joy to somebody else. The grass isn't greener. You've just got to keep working on your side, keep your head down, keep focused, ask for help where relevant. And there's a really good example of a business in a social media business in London that every day they did a YouTube channel for 6 months and they got absolutely nothing from it, not one single lead. It was in the next 6 months that the complete joy came, that people then started saying, you're consistent, you're still here. And so for 6 months, they plugged away and thought, oh God, is that completely ridiculous? Why are we doing this? This is time, this is energy, this is effort. But the next 6 months is where, like I said, the magic happened, that the inquiries started rolling in, that they said that it's just sticking doing what they were doing, and the consistency started to pay off. So if you've tried something once isn't enough. It's just a stab in the dark. Keep at it. Brilliant. Right, we'll keep maneuvering on. I don't want to, if you want to share, you'll be able to find me on social media. I'm all over if you want to share and you want to have feedback on any of this. But hopefully you've got in mind now a post, a time, a format that's been really popular in the last month or 3 months. Perfect. So we're going to look now at traffic to your website. As I said, shiny website. If you try and look for this, I'm very embarrassed to say it's still not live, so you won't see it. I don't know what's happened. If anybody's a website person, feel free to get in touch. So if you've got a lovely website that is live and you want to share it, and this is where you are a homeowner of your own website, then drive traffic to book a discovery call. I would think the best way to monitor this is to track it through your Google Analytics. That's super, super simple to set up. If you haven't already set it up, have a little look into that. And then think when you're on your website, so then you can track. Basically, Google Analytics is like any analytics like you have on social media that just sort of plots and tracks where does traffic come from, what keywords have they come from social media. I know Ethan probably be able to explain in detail more about Google Analytics, but really, really useful. And essentially, to be able to see what's happening in your website, you need to attach Google Analytics to the back end of it. Again, another technical question for a technical website person, which I am not. So when they're on their website, what are you asking them to do? Book a discovery call, sign up to emails. I mean, if you have a product-based business and you don't offer sign up to me and get 10% off, do that today, because everybody loves that, don't they? Everybody wants a 10% off and to go on a newsletter. What are you getting them to do there, and how easy is it to buy a chair from Gainer? When they bounce on, is there the new products there? They used to say on a website, which is really, really might not be the case now, 3 clicks to get something in your basket. So how easy is it for people to purchase when they're there, or how easy is it for it to book a discovery call? Because once they're doing more than 3 clicks, you've lost them, they're gone, they're bounced off, they're on another website. And also making sure that your website, if it is a linked or from social media, that any of your links, instead of taking them off your website, they create a whole new page. So if you want to take them to your social media, that your website doesn't disappear. So if they're on your website, does this make sense? It opens a whole new window if you want to take them anywhere else, to like your social media platforms or anywhere else like that. But yeah, that's how you can track. Google Analytics, brilliant little tool, and you'll be able to see also how people find you. And just check. This is my other pig pain, and I only came across this again yesterday, that you don't have TikTok, Pinterest, YouTube, I don't know, Twitter, whatever, that all then link to no accounts. So if your website designer had said, oh, I put all these links on for when you set them up, if you don't actually have an account, just ask them to remove them. There's just pointless them going on to TikTok that you don't have. Does that make sense? Because sometimes people get these accounts because their website person told them to. Or maybe that's an old thing now, but I've heard that quite a lot traditionally. Brilliant. Anybody wanting this as a metric? No, some people. James is like, oh, I don't know. So customer service. Remember back when we said about setting up that automatic robot that we called it that gets back to you. Just think, on average, it takes a company a day and 4 hours to respond on Facebook. Does anybody remember that really triggering response percentage that used to be on your Facebook page? That everybody was like, oh, you are, yeah, it used to say how many hours. James looks like he lost sleep over this. It was horrific, wasn't it? It was so awful. I'm glad they got rid of that. But yeah, that is, yeah, we don't want them to, yeah, we don't want any of that back, thank you. So what I would have a little look at, 85% of customers expect a company to reply within 6 hours. So that's like a working day, isn't it? So really think, how are you monitoring? Are your notifications set up? Have you got this little robot all checked in? How can you make that as easy as possible to sort of speed up your response time that could be a day and 4 hours? Or the other thing is, if you are a one-man band, can you get somebody else to also be an admin on your pages? Can somebody else also have a little eyes over it? Maybe you have somebody in business that is your mentor, or you have somebody in business that's a similar stage as you. Can you do it for each other? Is there a bit of accountability to be like, oh, brilliant. So if you don't know the answer, that you can sort of help each other out a little bit. And also I would definitely recommend, if somebody doesn't know your login, or you don't have an extra admin on your Facebook page, do that today as well, because if that Facebook page, for whatever reason, you can't get access to, at least they will have access to it. It's quite dangerous, but as solo entrepreneurs, we can sometimes forget, actually, oh no, it is me, it's just me. But it's absolutely fine to ask for help. So if there's somebody you can think of, even if it's a spouse, a friend, somebody else in business, can they also have access to your logins so that you can offer good customer service, or it's just eyes over it, or if you ever go on holiday, that they maybe could just scan over it. I don't know how relevant that is to some of you, but just an idea that would be useful, because I do hear that quite a lot, solo entrepreneurs losing their page for whatever reason, or their personal Facebook accounts, then they can't access their business page because they've got no way in. Brilliant. So, attracting candidates for positions. So we're going to talk about quickly recruitment, and then I will let you ask some questions. I feel like I've been like all the way through this, but yeah. It's no surprise here that the biggest platform for attracting candidates is LinkedIn, because essentially it's an online CV. And recruiters set this up over 20 years ago, and they were the founders of this sort of platform to make it super easy for them to find candidates and place them in positions. Then we've got Twitter, and then we've got Glasshouse, which I believe, until I did the research for this, I don't know if anybody's actually come across this. Glasshouse is very similar to, like, an online community, which might be quite useful if you are in retail or hospitality, similar to Indeed, that helps you find people and share that you've got a position within your business. That might be really useful. Facebook, I don't know if anybody ever, there's recruitment groups that you can join. And if your industry particular is into events, there might be something that, like, event staff groups that you can also join, that might be worth looking into if you're looking for ad hoc seasonal staff members. Facebook quite useful. And then it's sort of dwindling off to Instagram and YouTube. Brilliant. Anybody got any questions on that? We're happy to move on. Brillianto. We'll keep going. So what I might do is now a bit of an overview of those objectives. It hasn't got the numbers down the side, but if you can just imagine 1 to 6 again. I feel like we've missed something off here. Attracting candidates. No, what I'd like you to do then is, just as a little bit of a self-assessment, what number are you going to focus on? What is going to be your little bit of an objective to either add to your objective or turn your no, I don't have any objectives, into a number? You can obviously pick multiple, but it's all to track and measure. So really think, actually, one of those is going to be useful, like engagement number 3. Can you pop those in the chat, which one you are going to now look at? Perfect. Go, go, go. So in the chat, 1 to 6. Sorry, I've not got those numbers. Oh, yes. There's some teachers' pets here. Lots of number 3s. Well done. Gain at 03. Yes, I love this. Really, really pleased. For list engagement. Brilliant.
It's a good job it's all engagement, given what the next topic is next month, isn't it? That's spot on. Everybody's really interested in engagement, and that's the next subject.
You see what I've done
Perfect.
See what I've done there? Brilliant. Amazing. Any last? I don't think I've heard from Kath. Kath, share. Love that I can pick on people. Amazing. Yeah, Catherine Howarth, I know I'm going to ask you later. I'm going to find you on social media and I'm going to ask what your number is. Brilliant. So now we've got a little bit of something to work from for your business. Dare I ask, has anybody scored? Do they feel like it's gone up? A yes or no is absolutely fine, again in the chat. But remember, we have got 5 more webinars to go at. So if you haven't already looked, I've done this as a little bit of a screenshot from Joseph's amazing social media posts. I think, yeah, these are all the next ones from next month, how to create engaging content. Sign-up's exactly the same, isn't it, Joseph? Just straight onto the website. Oh, in the chat already.
Yeah,
Look at
same as
this.
before. Yeah. And I can't take credit for the social media posts because I have a comms team, so I don't have to do any of this stuff myself.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I just leave on
No,
the comms team.
take the
Yeah,
credit. Yes, it was me. Is that Mark that does these?
it is for now. He's moving on to a new role, so we're getting a new person, but it is currently Mark. Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so if you want to join us again for a sort of another 90-minute session, all fully funded, thank you very much, Growth Hub. They're all here, they're all in the website. It would be amazing to see you. And then we'll move on. If anybody's got any questions or you want to find me on Instagram or LinkedIn, like I said, Twitter would have been up there, or X, but I've slid that out a little bit. So sorry if you're an X user. Oh, you put my LinkedIn in. Thank you very much. So if anybody's got any questions, are we going to turn off the recording?
Yes, I'll stop the recording. We move on to a few new ones. Yeah. So bye bye recording, and we'll do a more informal session now. So hopefully I can press stop.